sent him a message. So
Uh,
what happened 2 weeks ago?
That's an excellent question, DM.
We entered the ice cavern. We looked around. We found some automatons with Drugar attached to them.
Turns out they're using some sort of illithid technology in there. Not good.
We opened the door by using one of the arms of one of the mech suits. And we started to find little frozen Bahamut people. To which we also found what we were looking for. But what Lord Grey sent us for, I can't remember what it is.
Golden seal.
The
Golden Seal.
Golden Sea.
You also found a sea of gold, which I am still going for.
We also saw, one of us saw something that he really didn't want to see. I panicked, ran away, while someone else picked a fight with a mech suit and caused the others to come after us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
There's just a dead mech suit in the room I was in. It just died instantly.
Sure.
I mean, to be fair, it did die instantly.
Uh, you took one of its arms because you didn't want to put the suit on.
Yeah. Illithid technology. It's not necessarily a good thing.
And then we took a long rest before we tried to actually to get the golden seal, and that should about sum it up where we were.
Alright. Now that you guys are awake, you're entirely sure if it is the morning or the night before. It is pretty dark around here, and there aren't any windows, so to speak. What would you guys like to do? Everything around you seems the way it was the night before.
Shoot. I don't remember. Did I press tinker? No, I did not. Okay, cool.
So, what are you planning to do
Oh,
with that little arm you've got?
well, oh god, it's already starting off bad. Well, I was planning on maybe trying to recreate this technology, but without all the horrible mind flare aspects. And then maybe that'll give us a little bit of upper hand. Maybe we can get a little bit of that gold.
Well, that sounds like a plan. Would you like to put it in my bag?
Uh, sure. Just make sure I can grab it.
Yeah, I'll put it in my bag of holding.
All right. So we've scouted out most of this cave, I believe, or at least this section of it. I believe there was that one other path, but other than that, I think it's just this and the golden seal.
And there was a grate covering something on the floor.
Oh yeah. Did anybody actually look down? I thought you mentioned something about passive perceptions and actually not seeing it.
You manage to see that it is leading to somewhere downstairs, I guess. You can't really see the stairs, but it looks like a gate, but it is just way too dark in there for you to see anything clearly.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, I guess we could try and see what's down there if you want. As far as I'm concerned, we found where we need to, what we need to grab, so we can get that at the end, as long as there's nothing chasing after us.
could still get it now. I can put it in my bag, then we can go down.
How big is this thing? Like encased in ice?
It's about the seal itself is about 1 feet in length and about half a feet in diameter. It's like a cylinder, but the ice cube is about 2 to 3 feet in each side.
I'm more or less asking because I don't know how big the mouth of a bag of holding is.
I think it stays in the description that you have.
Uh,
Wait,
I
2 feet in diameter.
So theoretically melted, it could fit.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, wait, I remember I built my fire lighter yesterday.
yeah.
Okay, it's gonna take some time, but we can do that.
Well, it sounds like we got a plan, at least.
And who knows? Maybe there'll be some minor volcanic activity in this mountain. If that's the case, we could just set it next to some lava and just wait it out.
I don't really know if that's a good idea or not.
Well, I mean, hasn't blown its lid in ages, so hopefully.
Well, we'll take it one thing at a time.
All right. So I take it we're going to the crate then.
Suppose so.
Alrighty then. We. Da 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 da.
Yeah, I can put you there.
Fluffy's in the distance.
When you come back to the main hall of this cavern, once again things seem to be at the same positions that they were last night. You don't see anything different. The people who are encased in ice are still in the ice, which doesn't seem to be melting. What's the maximum passive perception that you guys got?
Mine is
Uh,
8. Oh, with the proficiency, mine's 21.
Okay, okay.
I'm servant.
With the 21, you, as you walk into the hall and just look around to see if everything is in place, you realize that last night one of you shot an arrow at the chain that was holding the ice cube down or up, and you almost broke the chain. As you look back up, the link of the chain, which was almost broken, seems to have been fixed. Seems to be back in its original form. There doesn't seem to be any breakage or even any markings of an arrow or a crossbow bolt hitting it.
Well, that's strange. It seems that when we hit the chain last night and caused damage to it, it seems to have repaired itself.
What? Gonna proceed to look up where she shot earlier. Huh? No way. I, what else is still in the cave that could do that?
Can I have a look around, see if I can see anyone or anything?
You can roll perception check.
For
Okay. With
this guy.
a 26, you don't see anything around you but you do hear shards of ice crackling from all the way on top of you. Just a constant crackling, and very similar to the sound that your shoes made when you were climbing up the side of the cliff. And it's very quietly echoing through the halls.
Okay, I would like to cast light on one of my little stones,
Okay,
and I would like to sling it directly up.
Uh-oh.
okay. Just
Well,
just
I'm not
roll.
aiming for anything. I'm just like just slinging it upwards.
Yeah, just roll like a strength check or something to see how far up it goes. That is,
Okay.
you rolled a 13 plus your strength,
It flies right into the dragon's face.
0. So I just take the 13. With the 13, you manage to sling the stone pretty far up, and as the light radiates from it, and higher it goes, by just looking around, you manage to see that all these walls that you see, they do not go all the way up to the ceiling. They seem to stop about 80 feet in height, whereas the ceiling itself is about 90 to 95 feet up. And you can clearly see the pointy ends of icicles and ice shards pointing right down at you, which you have already experienced last night when some of them fell on one of your companions' head. Other than that, you don't really seem to see anything, but you can still hear the crackling. You're not entirely sure if it is directly above you, it is somewhere above you.
Well, I feel as if someone's in here with us, but I don't quite know where.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of frozen people.
I mean, actually moving.
One, two, three, four. No, that looks like everyone. Um,
Well, let's just call it a hunch.
you hurt me so much. Great. All right. Well, maybe we should try this grate and see if we can get out of here. Then,
Okay.
I mean, the seal doesn't look like it's moving, so I guess that'll stay here until we get back.
We could try to break the chain again and see if whatever it is will come back to fix it.
True. But is that gonna? How long is that gonna take? Do you think?
Well, someone would have to be underneath it to catch it, while the others tried to break it.
True. Um, I can take another shot with my crossbow if you guys want to sit at the other side.
I mean, I can throw stones at it if someone is good at catching.
I can try to catch it.
Well, it seems we have a plan.
Fluffy's got it.
Okay. Well,
Wait,
who are
where's the chain actually located?
the chain? It is connected to the top of the ice cube, which has the golden seal encased in it. But the chain itself, it seems to be going all the way up, and you can't really
Okay,
see where it ends with your
okay,
dark vision.
okay. I was more or less wondering if it was still like hooked, if it was hooked to the ground, or it just goes straight up.
Yeah, it's going straight up, and the last night you figured out that it is acting as a counterweight to something on the other side that you're not entirely sure where the other side is, because when you clipped the chain last night, and the ice cube started to fall down, you heard something mechanical on the other side, from somewhere from behind or above you.
Um, just to give a warning, guys. We if we knock this thing off, something else happens in the rest of the I'm not sure what, but I'm just gonna give you guys the warning just in case if we need to run.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Go.
As soon as my character sheet,
Oh.
I'm
All right.
I am going to use my precision strike. As soon as I get down to it, or my sharpshooter, then I'm going to use my bow.
Both of you managed to hit the chain, albeit the different spots in the chain itself. As the magic stone hits the chain and the bolt hits the chain at a slightly lower end, once again, just like last night, you managed to break about half of the link, one of the links, and once again, you see the exact same thing that you saw last night. The ice cube starts to fall about 5 meters, sorry, 5 feet, and you can hear the chains being pulled from far above, and it comes to an abrupt end as the cube is now dangling much closer to the ground. You can almost touch it now. It's about 5 feet up.
You mind grabbing a hold of it? We can try again. What could possibly go wrong?
Famous last words.
With both of you manage to hit it again, and this time you manage to get a clean hit on the weakened part of the chain, which pretty much snaps it in two. As the smaller end of the chain falls down along with the ice cube into Oriana's hand, I need you to roll just a easy. Well, wait. What is your strength?
My strength is a +0, but my dex is a +3.
Well, you are
Dex.
standing right underneath it, so just roll a strength check. It's not a hard one. It's already pretty close to your hand. Yeah, with a 19, since the cube was already at a lower spot, you manage to somewhat grab it, even though it's slippery. You manage to get a good hold of it, and you can feel that it is quite heavy, but you can still carry it. But just as it falls into your hand, the other part of the chain, the longer end, quickly vanishes as it gets pulled up at an immensely high speed. For about 4 to 5 seconds, you manage to hear, you can hear the chains, the metal chains being dragged across some kind of surface that seems to go all the way up north to where the entrance was. And at the very last moment, you hear something really heavy landing on what seems like an ice surface, and you can hear the ice cracking from where you once came up above.
All right, guys, we're locked in the room now. Ah, with the dragon. I still don't know there's a dragon though, so it's fine.
Well, at least we got the seal.
Well, there's that. I don't know exactly how we're getting out of here though, but I mean, the walls are 80 feet high. Wait, no, I don't know that. Well, we got this bad boy. Uh, where do you recommend we go now?
I mean, we could go down and see where that leads.
There's a possibility. I'm fine with it. Or exploring. Hey, maybe we'll get to the same layer of that gold.
Well, it's quite possible.
Right. I'm going to take a look and see if there's any way to open this grate. I don't know. If it's just like a one you can shift over, or it's one that you actually have to use like a lever or something.
As you move forward to check the gate, once again, you hear ice shards falling off onto the ground somewhere over on this end. It starts to fall on top of the people who are already encased, but the icicles, they don't seem to damage the ice cubes that they are encased in. I need you to roll an investigation check to see what you know about the gate.
All right. Come on, Jana.
Come on, Mr. Smart Person.
This is literally one of the few things you're good at. Let's see it work. That's good enough for me.
With an 18, you see what you saw last night first. There are dwarven inscriptions on the gate itself. And I believe you have already figured it out what it means. I think one of you managed to speak Dwarven.
Yep,
And
I
you
know.
realize, yeah, you realize that it says one cannot leave without the other. As you look at the gate, it is it looks like it's circular, but you can only see about one half of it. The
Mhm.
other half seems to be completely hidden underneath the wall. And the circular gate, it is separated into two parts. There are two different sides to the gate. And it is made of metal from what you can see. And at the very center, you can see what looks like a an indentation, a small, um, I would say, hemispherical dent that seems to go inside the gate. Like you can place a ball on it and it would seem to fit, but it seems to be empty currently. Other than that, you can see with your dark vision, I would say you can somewhat see about 30 to 40 feet underneath, and it seems like there are certain stones that are attached to the sides of the circular wall, very much like they look like stairs, but they're not a conventional type of stairs. They're more like those kind of, you know, in the Batman, the third movie, the way he climbs up through the well.
Yeah.
There are steps that are about 5 feet, 6 feet away from each other in a circular pattern going downwards, but you have no idea how far down it goes.
Huh.
And surrounding walls, they seem to be made of metal, even though you are currently standing on about 4 to 5 layers thick ice. There is no ice inside underneath the gate.
Well, I have good news. The ice ends after this little opening. The bad news is I think we need something to open this.
Any ideas?
It's a some type of circular device or circular object. Have we run across anything like that?
Can we try an arm again?
What was that?
Yeah.
One of the robot arms. Can we try that again?
Maybe. It's it could be a possibility.
I pull the arm out and pass it to you.
Um, more
As
if I think about.
you, well, I don't know who is placing it, but whoever is placing the arm, you realize that this this construct, kind of an object that you're looking at, looks very much like the door that you used the arm on, but the gate, the indentation on the gate, it looks much smaller and it has a very smooth surface to it, unlike the door, which seemed to manage to take the entire arm inside.
Hmm. Nope, that's putting a drill hand into a circle hole. Afraid not. Might be something else.
Maybe the corpses of those dwarf things might have something on them.
It might be a possibility. That's gonna require us to break them out. Um. All right. Gonna wander over and check out the corpses and see if they have anything that looks like that sphere, like would fit that spherical hole.
Who are you searching?
I'm looking at them to see if they have like what would be like what would fit in that circular hole.
You're checking the dwarf construct people. I'm assuming.
Oh, oh,
I don't know who you're
oh yeah,
assuming.
the Drogos. My bad.
And the people that are inside the ice, which I don't know how you're gonna search them other than looking at them.
Looking very carefully through the ice. Oh, good. All right, all right. I'll be right back. Just gonna go find some Drogers. Do 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 do.
I would say
Drog.
since you spent quite a while tinkering with them, you can't really find anything that is spherical that would fit in the hemispherical indentation, other than probably their head. But even their head would be too big. Maybe their eye might fit, but their eyes are not mechanical. They're actual dwarf eyes.
Huh. Um, I don't think they have really much anything to do with this kind of gate. This does the gate seem older than the Droger? Obviously, in a way.
Sorry, what did you ask?
Do the does like this gate right here actually look older than the like
Uh,
Droger construct stuff?
just roll a history check.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's another thing I'm good at. History go.
Okay.
Okay.
You would know from reading the Dwarvish that it is ancient Dwarvish. It is at least 400 to 500 years back, and no one uses this dialect anymore. But other than that, from just looking at the way the gate is manufactured and constructed in this cave, from your history readings and your time that you, well, most of your life that you spent on the free islands, you would know that many dwarves, before the war began, they had a lot of kingdoms underneath the mountains, and there were multiple entrances into these kingdoms. Most of them kept secret, and many were lost during the war itself. 500 years ago, you could assume that
For
this could be one of the entrances into this particular mountain. Other than that, there's really nothing you can gain from just looking at the gate itself. And the dwarves, they used to love secret passages and trapdoors and different mechanisms that are far ahead of their time to keep themselves safe from the rest of the civilizations.
Huh. Well, This might be this might be one of the old dwarven fortresses. Actually, now that I think about it. For the record, that was a 28.
Okay.
That I really just like the high roll on that. That was beautiful. Um, well, I don't know how much of a connection it has with the Droger, but I don't feel like it's gonna be them that has this. I feel like it's gotta be something actually either in here or in the caves right around here. Somebody has that.
As you were investigating the gate, once again, a bunch of icicles start to fall off behind you, but it doesn't seem to hit any of you directly. But the surface that you're standing on is starting to get completely um, instead of just being smooth ice, now you can see part small particles of icicles just shattered all over.
Well, if we keep doing this, eventually we'll shatter our way through the ground. Sweet.
Don't you think it's a little weird that ice shards are still falling even though we're doing nothing to the roof?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Normally ice doesn't act like this. At least I don't think it does.
D- d-
Something's got to be shaking it in that either above us or around in here.
do you think you could shoot an arrow to where those ice fell?
I can certainly try. I need to remember what the distance is for a my crossbow bolt. 8320. I can.
Okay. Before you shoot the arrow or the bolt, roll me a 1d16. Okay.
I hope that was good.
As you, as Ebel touches one of your crossbow bolts and light starts to emanate from it, you place it inside your crossbow and you fling it. Well, not fling it, but shoot it right on top of where, in a general location of where the icicles started to fall. And as it travels up in the air, you see the same things that you saw when Ebel threw the magic stone. Rows and rows of icicles still standing up top. But just at the very corner of your eye, you manage to see something reflecting the light. Almost like how the gold and the diamonds are reflecting the light from underneath you. Something extremely reflective and white catches your eye, and just as you turn, you can feel first, you don't see anything, but you feel a gust of wind coming towards your direction, all five of you.
That better
At the
not be
very
Jack.
next second, where is it? Ah, here it is.
You summoned the dragon!
See that roll right there was to check to see how many rounds of fire breath we're getting.
Oh, 15!
All
As you,
15 rounds are going to be fire breath.
as you look directly in front, what Abel saw the night before, or what he saw partially the night before, now you see the entirety of it. In midair, it's not completely on the ground yet, but it is an enormous beast, much bigger than any of you, but not as big as some of the creatures that you have seen back in the southern part of the Free Islands. It is very much like a dragon. It's got wings, it's got two legs, and a long tail. It is pure white, as you can see the light still reflecting off of it. It has golden eyes that doesn't seem to be blinking, so to speak. It seems to be looking directly at the five of you as it slowly descends onto the ground. Its claws, until now, none of your weapons or the icicles have penetrated the layers of ice beneath, except for the creature's claws. As it lands on the ground, you can see its sharp claws starting to puncture into the ice layers. It looks directly at you, but it doesn't seem to move or say anything. And it hasn't blinked since the last time you saw it.
Um, so I'm gonna take this opportunity for Fluffy to absolutely book it behind here and run with his tail between his legs. That's gonna be his instinctual reaction to this.
As
Jana,
you,
on the other
as
hand,
yeah, go ahead.
Jana, on the other hand, is gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome! An actual dragon."
I'm going to cast. Oh, not as a ritual, as a spell.
Oh no, I don't know the language. House.
It's probably not going to work, but. Hello, do you understand us?
It firstly, when Fluffy ran behind the wall of ice, you can see the dragon, the dragon's eyes slowly following Fluffy. And even after it went behind the wall, it still seems to be following it, almost to the exact location. And
That's fine.
just as you cast a speak with animals, which only works on beasts,
Ah,
but the dragon does look back at you. Well, well, finally. It has been quite a while. I do understand you, but I wonder if you would understand me. As you can, all five of, well, four of you can hear it speaking in common.
Well, I can hear you loud and clear.
yes.
Well, I have been watching the lot of you for a while now.
For the
Well,
Just
record,
for a
during this
second.
time,
Sorry?
during this time, I am just sketching down this dragon.
It doesn't seem to notice or care.
That
It
is
just seems to be slowly just circling. Just it doesn't seem to be standing in one place. It's just walking around, coming back, going back to where it was. But its eyes are still fixed at the four of you.
well, I kind of realised something was here. I just couldn't quite see you.
Is this what you were talking about?
Aye, it was. I caught a glimpse
Well,
last night.
that explains a whole lot more. I honestly thought you were talking about those droga
No.
because I was about to laugh. Those things were not a threat at all. For the record, I
You,
took 0 damage, so I don't even think these things are actually.
if you had seen me, it is quite a surprise that you still stayed the night. I applaud
Um,
your bravery, Ebel, a man who pretends to be someone else.
Well, it's not really pretending, I'm just hiding it.
Nothing can be hidden from me.
huh, you know something about us?
Well, I see that you have finally found what you seek. What it, what it is that you seek, it is to be held here with me. It is not for the world to have for their own desires. Best you leave it here where it belongs. As the dragon looks directly at Oriana, who's still holding on to the ice cube with the seal inside.
Could I have a second to speak with my friends? Just over in the corner, please?
I feel like he's gonna hear us no matter what we do.
It's not the point.
You can speak with them, but come to a decision soon. You have woken me from a great slumber.
So,
I was
go on.
to wake
Um,
when one of these infidels trapped in ice were to return. It looks like he is trapped inside, underneath, forever. As the
um,
dragon just goes around and starts to perch on top of one of the walls, still looking in a direction.
so, I don't want to exactly fight something like this. I'm pretty sure it would mop the floor with us.
Well, that's where my question comes in. How does Lord Grey deal with not fulfilling a task?
Um, well, we wouldn't get paid, and most likely we wouldn't get tied on again. But on the plus side, we make it out with our lives.
Plus,
Um,
we could ask about the gold in the floor and where this grate goes if we give him back the actual um words, the item.
that is true. And suddenly I switched into a different voice. Awesome. Um, my question is why does he allow the Droger in here? Like, they just seem to wander around. They could have very much touched the seal and taken it for their own.
I don't think the Druga were quite there, if you understand my meaning.
I just see the movement in the corner, and I'm like, okay, it's getting more concerning.
I mean, we were grabbing this because it's dangerous. Maybe this is the best place for it to be protected from the rest of the world?
While you're moving this way, like Fluffy is immediately 180 around the corner.
Yes, he's trying to catch his dinner.
Nope, 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 nope. Hiding back.
So, we... Excuse me, Mr. Dragon. Could you tell us your name, if you don't mind?
Well, my name has been long forgotten. There has been no one here to share these halls with. It has been centuries in this wretched cavern, held by magic to protect the one thing that keeps this world alive. If you truly need to know my name, you will have to ask the dead.
Is that because the dead keep it?
The dead are the ones who gave me my name, I suppose. Not entirely sure if they would remember it either.
Is
Me-
it
We shall call him Terrence.
I think she was trying to make the sound of terrifying death.
Reeves.
Ah, they do not scream. All their voices are trapped in the ice that I provide them.
So, quick question. Are they still alive in there, or are they completely gone?
Some are still alive, some not entirely. Not all of them are here to be my dinner. Some of them are here as trophies, as things and creatures that I have successfully defeated in my life.
Well, that would explain the big guy back there.
Ah, so you have met him.
Well, I mean, we kind of had to walk past him to get in here.
It was a great fight. A fight to remember. Now that you have asked me some questions, I believe it is time for me to ask you some.
All right. All right. As long as it.
How is it that you know of this place? It is meant to be a secret. You see, no one, well, no one alive should know of this place. And just in the past 2 months, you are the third expedition to be held inside my home.
Well, I'm a little bit of an archaeologist, so I kind of find places like this, and I kind of scour through them for old relics and artifacts. Ooh,
You
lying.
could roll a deception. I would say
Yeah,
roll deception with advantage since you did say half truth.
that's gonna be everything I say from now on is going to be half true in effect. It's not advantage. There it is. That did not roll advantage.
It did, but yeah, it rolled 6 plus 1.
Oh,
I don't know why it's rolling single die. I thought I changed it.
Might be
I don't
because he
know.
selected the advantage button.
Oh yeah, I think you clicked on advantage before you rolled. You just need to roll normally. It rolls twice. We take the higher one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Well, it doesn't
you're still
matter.
rolling with advantage, but it's still a 6 plus 1. Mm,
I mean, technically, what I said isn't entirely wrong.
well, as you see the dragon's face and its snout, you can see its nostrils flaring and its snout slowly moving from side to side. It's almost like how a human would shake his head in disbelief as it flies closer to you.
Uh, uh,
Well, you are an archaeologist, you say.
um, well, uh, sort of an ex-archaeologist. I kind of left my father and brother for my own devices.
Devices. You are just like dwarves, are you not? Fascinated
Hey now.
by
Hey,
machines.
got gnomes.
So you do know how to operate machines.
Yes, I have some understanding of components and technology,
Hmm.
which is why we have one of those weird automaton arms in our possession. Uh, actually, sorry, I know we're asking another question here, but why are those guys just running around here? Do you know?
Well, they
Trying to switch off the subject of anything I have now lied about.
their fates were sealed long before mine. The dwarves that you see trapped inside those infernal machines, they are eternally in pain. The machines, they work only when there is someone experiencing pain inside.
That,
Imagine for 500 years strapped and slowly your life being drained out of it.
yep,
For
that,
what?
yep, that would be mind flayer technology. Uh,
Not just mind flayers, little one. They were not made by those illithids. These machines were constructed by the same beings who has who had held me here. Those dwarves, they just like to keep everything to themselves. Any
true.
traitor, anyone who had disobeyed these dwarves or hadn't taken up arms ages ago, those are the ones that you saw inside the machines. Some would say they deserve their fate. I like to
Oh,
stay neutral.
oh, my. That's actually kind of oof.
Would you like
Um,
to ask us a question now?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I kind of stole your questions.
Well, my question remains the same. If you were an archaeologist, as you said, can I assume that you happen to be upon this cavern just through luck?
Um, he already spotted my bluff the first time. I'm not even going for it a second time. Well, no, I actually got a tip from one of my employers, actually, that there might have been something up this way.
Ah, that employer of yours, is he among you? As the dragon looks at the rest of the three of you.
No, this is just a merry group of compatriots I have actually found upon. Um,
I actually don't work for him. I'm just doing this to get something off him.
he's actually correct. He literally just walked into the room.
Well, it is sad to know that there are people outside of this cavern who still know of this place. It is best if we keep it a secret, don't you think?
Well, he originally hired me on to just make sure that the artifact was secure. We were going to take it back into his possession to be secured. But looking around, it looks like that might be already done.
I wonder, how is it that every living person who had been in my sights has been trapped here, and yet the exact location is known to more people outside?
Um, well, I do want there are divination magics that could help locate the object, I suppose. If
Ah,
people knew about the object beforehand and knew about its lore, there's a good chance that they could still find it, at least where its location is.
it is impossible for anyone to find it through my eyes. And there were millions who knew of the golden seal.
I was talking about Legend Lore.
Well, I see the golden seal in your hand, and I take it.
Steps to the side.
Well, why don't you ask me one question now, just to even the scores?
Stop. Stop. No. Please.
To tell us what's
So,
below.
Ah, what is below? Other than what you see, 500 years worth of treasure graciously given to me by the people with suicidal intents, and made most of the treasure, I have to admit, were taken from this mountain once the dwarves left. It is a nice view from up there to look down at. Other than that, there is an entire, I would say, an entire civilization that once existed underneath. Sadly, there is nothing down there now, except for a few corpses of some men who came seeking something else other than what you already have in your hands over there.
I heard something else. My ears have perked.
Would you know how to actually get down there? Because there seems to be a lock.
Well, it is my turn to ask you a question.
Very well.
Yeah, God.
How much do you know about the Golden Seal?
Um, I know. I know specifically from the legend. It houses a great. God, I don't even remember reading. I read this so long ago. I'm sad now.
Was it like a
You
Should
can
I
roll
just
a
roll?
history check.
I was gonna say, should I just roll a history and go for it?
I mean, if you think your character wouldn't remember it, you can roll history, and if you roll high, I might give you some information that you may not remember as a player, but it's up to you.
Would I be able to assist him if I'm also trying to remember?
Yeah, you can, both of you can roll.
Pretty
Okay,
adequate.
give me a second. I don't know why you're just rolling
And
one. I
then,
thought I just changed it. But you can't give him advantage because you rolled a 5.
uh, you add twice. History related to magic items objects. Since this is a magical item, I get an extra 3 on my roll.
Which item?
Since we're talking about the gold seal and its history, I'd get a +3 if I'm correct, right?
From where?
Whenever you
From your
whenever you make like an intelligence history check related to magic items, alchemical objects, or
alchemical objects. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is an 18. I would
Yes.
say, since you looked at the seal last night, and you can still look at it now, you can see the engravings that I told you guys 2 weeks ago, which you might have forgotten, but it talks about the four horsemen. It talks about how each of the horsemen would appear on this material plane, and how and what they would do when they are here. The first horseman would be conquest, the second would be famine, the third would be war, and the last one would be death.
I just
And
didn't. I just didn't write this down. That was my problem.
Yeah, you can write it down now if you want. It
Yeah.
might be useful. And Lord Grey and Gustav did tell you that it is essential that the golden seal remains intact since it holds the, I would say it's not really the soul but the life force of demons in quotation marks. But Lord Grey wasn't sure what demons were inside. But you were also
All right.
told that 500 years ago the war, the, the biggest war and the last war that had happened here was, it happened, it started off due to the seal being broken.
And that's what I know.
That's what you know from remembering what you were told from last night and from Lord Grey.
Yeah. Okay. Um. So I know this sort of the story of the seal itself. It's sort of an it's sort of an omen to what would happen if the seal were opened. It houses some sort of demonic energy, of ancient times, but before I was born, at least. uh, and basically just goes through the summary of what everything you said. I'm gonna go with that. I was writing it down.
And that is all that you know about the seal.
Um, as as much as I know about the seal itself, I was actually kind of interested in doing a bit more research on it.
Well, unfortunately, there isn't time for that in here at least. I see that you were asking me something over there, Abel, as he looks down at you, Abel.
Yes, would you know how to open the grate?
It
Ah,
would be valuable for archaeological research.
the gate itself. Funnily enough, it was open a while ago when these trespassers came in, as the dragon turns and looks at
Gosh darn it, they did have it.
the people who are encased in ice with the Bahamut symbols over here. They were much smarter than the lot of you. They figured out the gate within seconds.
It that also might be because they wait, are they dwarves? Do I notice if they're dwarves or not?
Inside the ice?
Yes.
No, both of them are human.
All right, never mind. I'm gonna shut my mouth on that one. I was gonna say that if they were dwarves, it might be because they used to run this place. But
Well,
nope.
they did manage to open it. I have to admit, I had to give it to them. They outsmarted me, so to speak. The only way to open the gate is with my eyes.
That seems like an
But I
interesting
wonder,
secret.
why would you ever want to go down there?
Well,
Um,
as it stands, we're probably going to leave the seal here, but would like to at least look. There might not be anything down there, but there could be something that might be valuable.
and there is a whole like age of old dwarven lore down there that I might actually be able to do some research into. And
Well,
they say that they were looking for some sort of other object. Could be something interesting.
if you wish to seek what the others wanted, I would be more than happy to let the four of you underneath. But I shall give you the same warning that I gave them. Going down is not the problem. Coming back up is. I'm not entirely sure if there are people still trapped down there, but my memory is fleeting. But it is time for me to ask you another question.
All right, shoot.
If you were, if I were to allow you to take the seal out of this cavern, what would you do with it?
Um, kind of looks over at everyone else real quick, and then kind of looks back over to the dragon. I suppose I would have given it to my boss my boss to make sure that he would keep it secured and safe. That's what the overlying premise of the entire operation was.
Hmm. It would have been a much easier transaction between us if your boss had been here.
I mean,
I
You
also
see,
feel like that might have ended up with all of us being frozen solid. I'm not going to say.
well,
Nothing against you, sir, but uh, no, normally these kinds of deals where there's one very powerful person and there's multiple weaker people, it doesn't normally end well.
Also, our boss is a mess.
and
a mess.
he doesn't seem quite reliable, and I'm only doing
He's
this
a bit,
because of a vision I had of him.
he's a bit of a lush.
You are planning to deliver the seal to someone who is not of his own mind.
Ah, ah, that was that was two questions.
Do you really wish to
It is,
get into semantics with a dragon that's 5 feet away from you?
I mean, I'm assuming he wants to play by the same rulings we do.
well, I do like games. Then it is your turn then. What would you
Um,
like to know?
so what does the seal on what does the seal mean that one can't leave without the other?
Ah, finally, someone who knows what to ask.
I knew he'd like it.
The seal, as you can see, is encased in ice. Ice that is unbreakable, unmeltable, 2 feet. Well, 2 feet on both sides, so that's 4 feet thickness. It is, in a way, I would say, eternally linked to another equally powerful being. Do you want to guess to whom the seal is connected to? as the dragon looks in a very smirky way.
Could I make a wisdom check to see if I can figure it out?
Would this? I think it would be a religion check.
You can roll well, technically I would say you can roll a history check or
Sweet.
or a slightly difficult wisdom check to just see from the reactions of the dragon itself.
I'll go for the wisdom then.
I'm going for history, and when I get my bonus, or no? Just wondering.
With your wisdom check, you can see that the dragon knows the answer to its own question, and from the way it's reacting, it looks like the answer is quite obvious. With the history check of 22, with a 7,
Would
you're
I
not
would I
entirely
get the
sure.
+3 for magical object or anything?
Um,
I'm
yeah,
fine with.
sure.
Okay.
I'll give you
25.
25. Yeah. With the 25, you would know that the um, the dwarves who built this place, they they are known to link pretty um, powerful magical items to creatures of equal strength who are usually kept guarded.
Ah, he's a wise
It is,
guy.
yeah. You also know that. Uh, Actually, no, you wouldn't know that from history. No, you only know until what I told you.
Is it you?
Well, I do not see any other powerful beings around here.
What
I
about that
don't.
giant?
I don't know. Fluffy's pretty strong. You just hear whimpering in the corner.
It is my turn to ask a question, little tiefling.
I mean, technically, he did ask a question in that statement, but I'm not going to go into semantics on this one.
Yeah, I'll just kick you.
I asked a question? When did I ask a question?
God, I can't remember what you said, but
We asked a question, but he gave us a riddle. He didn't ask a question.
Do you want to guess on who that would be?
Yeah, but after that, what's her name? Lillian just said, "Is it you?"
Ha! Countered. Thank you. I'm appreciating that.
It looks at just the four of you in general. Do you know why some of these men are trapped in ice behind me?
I'm going to assume that was partially your doing.
Hmm.
Well, considering how they look, part of some order, they were probably looking for something.
Hmm. But from your limited time conversing with me, do I look like someone who would show my wrath on people who are innocent?
Well, it depends on your view of innocent.
I would,
Well, go
I
ahead.
would, I would suppose that you probably had a reason to praise them. They probably disagreed, but that happens.
Well, for one, I did not freeze all of them. Some of them are still underneath, as he uses one of his fingers of his claws and points down onto the gate. They were looking for something that is far more dangerous.
Ears perking.
To me, not to the world. The seal is, of course, of paramount importance in this cavern. But can you imagine that one of them willingly decided to go underneath to
Um,
retrieve it?
well, I mean, stuck between a rock and being frozen solid. I guess I'll choose the rock.
Well, if that is your choice,
At least
I
there's a
would.
chance of survival at that point, but
Did he leave his compatriots, or did he offer them?
That is a question that you should ask him, not me.
however, you asked the question, so
You could go underneath if you wish to, but I have to say, it would be irresponsible of me to not do my duty to subdue the location from leaving this cavern.
Well, to be honest, I don't really have much interest in the seal or this cavern, no offense. So I'm pretty sure I could forget where it is, if you catch my drift.
Could you forget where it is, little one? Because if it was to be forgotten, how is it that people still come in here looking for the one thing, the only thing that is connected to me?
I
Hmm?
I would assume. Oh god,
Oh,
that's loud. Oh, that was a high note on a loudspeaker. That oh. Um, well, I suppose he did say he had a connection that gave him the tip. That's. Is there anybody that could possibly be alive long enough to know about this, or where its location would have been?
Hmm.
I can't
I
think
do
of.
not think so.
I might have an idea, but it may require another question.
One last question then
First off,
from
I'll explain.
you.
Yeah, I'll explain my vision about about where the Greys live and the portrait of the young man with the black hair with the glass of red wine, and that we were hired by apparently his descendant to come here, a Lord Grey. Is it possible that this ancestor I had a vision about might have known about this location?
Finally, the truth comes out.
I mean, I'm not indebted to this
I mean,
Lord Grey or anyone, so I just want to know
I
why
mean,
the hell I'm
that
having visions.
Well,
I mean, to be fair,
visions.
we've all been actually very true, fairly truthful.
Well, you were truthful, far more truthful than the ones who preceded you. I can
Well,
give it. Well, I got disconnected. Let me come back. Okay, I'm back.
God's gone. Quick, run away.
Coming back to you, your visions, Ebo. I'm sure you have visions in the regular
No,
as the dragon comes to you and slowly starts to smell you.
this was my first vision. It happened about 6 weeks ago and it's been happening ever since. There seems to be something wrong with that castle. So I'm doing this job to get information.
Well, if you know who you truly are, visions are very much like guidelines.
Yes, they're not
You
very
do
clear.
not you do not have to follow them. I've had visions of leaving this place once and for all. Never managed to.
You're stuck here, are you?
Well, I said one last question and it has already been asked.
Darn it! Somebody had to. Somebody had to add on to their plot.
Well, your visions. If you are who I smell you to be, it is best that you follow them for the goodness of the world.
The only problem is, I only saw the vision of, I'm guessing, the ancestor. I really don't have any more information than that. That's why I'm doing this.
Well, it is time for you to dig up some graves then.
Do you mean that literally, or like?
Ah, more questions, more answers.
I mean, it's more of a clarification, you know, not really a question.
Well, I do not have any more time to answer any of your questions. If you were to place the seal back just where you're standing, I promise I will let you leave.
Um, I actually have a another proposition for you. Um,
What can I get you?
nothing. Um, so you said something about somebody being down below and that there being something that is of a great threat to you. How about we go down there, deal with the threat, and if we somehow survive all of this, in exchange for our services, we get some of this gold that's covering your floor. Just a little bit. Just have to get us by. That deals with a threat to you personally, and that allows us to actually call this a adventurous day.
As you proposed the new course of action to the dragon,
I mean, I'm not saying we don't just leave the seal here. I agree with that completely. I'm just adding on to that.
the dragon seems to be quite interested as it you can see its nose flaring up and its ears twitching. It starts to move its head around you, just checking you out to see if there are any tricks.
I swear to you, there
Roll.
are no tricks except there's a crossbow in my back.
Just roll a persuasion check
Oh god.
with advantage, since you know the information about the things underneath.
Persuasion. Let's go.
Oh wow.
That's why I said, oh boy. Even with
You did
advantage,
have
I don't
advantage.
What?
You did have advantage, so it's a 5, not a natural one.
Oh yeah, I know it's a 5. It's just it's a 5.
The dragon just walks around.
Well, even if we don't take the gold, we could still go down and deal with your problem. As a gesture of good faith.
Hmm.
And plus, if we die, we die. You have one less person to worry about.
Wait, I need to roll the dragon to see if I roll less than a 5.
I don't see a
I think
dragon.
unless you roll a 1, you're good.
Yeah, I don't see a dragon rolling less than a 5 unless it's a natural 1. Especially on
Not
charisma.
really. It's not charisma. Why would it be charisma? It's gotta be wisdom.
Oh,
9.
Because I'm close, do I at least get him to nudge on it?
Nudge on your clothes?
No, I was gonna say because I'm kind of close. I'm kind of close.
Ah. It doesn't touch you at all. Actually, no, never mind. It doesn't touch you at all, but it still moves its neck and its wings slowly above and around you, just to look at you in different angles, at all of you. Well, if you wish to go underneath, I do not have a problem with it. But I seriously doubt that you would be up to the task to dismiss the threat, to me at least. I can give you a chance underneath, I guess. Hmm. How about this? I let you go underneath, and you have 3 days' time. I need you to find the only thing valuable underneath. Possibly some of those who I sent underneath could still be alive, and they could help you. But if you can bring back the item, that could help me leave this place once and for all.
That's actually what I was thinking. Is what is keeping you there? Is keeping you here? I didn't know if it was the seal necessarily or the actual something in this place. But I'm assuming because
Well,
of the seal down, the actual dwarven seal. I assume there's something keeping you here.
the seal has no power over me or any one of my kind, but the artifact that you would see if you were lucky enough to survive the climb down, that that can control the entirety of me and my brothers. Which is why I need you to
It's one
bring
of
it.
those masks, isn't it? Out of context.
Well, out of context, it is not a mask.
Okay.
In context, I guess I could give you a chance then, if all of you are willing, as it looks at the 4 of you.
Well, I mean, it's either we go down there and have some more adventure and possibly get something out of it, or we basically walk out with nothing and we all have to go through that mountain again. It's up to everyone else.
I guess we could do it.
Alright.
seems like a reasonable idea.
What about you who hasn't spoken the entire time? Say nothing if it's okay.
Nothing!
Perfect.
Nothing. Okay. Well, well, well. Hopefully, the four of you will return. When you climb back up, just knock on the gate. If I am still here, I might open it.
Might.
As you see that, well, can't promise that I will be here. I mean, what if another band of adventurers come in and they manage to slay me? Could be a problem. So I say, better get to it fast. The quicker, the better for you and for me.
Well, hopefully hopefully my boss wouldn't actually send another group out so quickly. So,
Hopefully, then.
oh, I'm so fired.
You see the dragon moving on top of the gate itself as
Moving
it
over the case.
brings one of its claws up. You see it puncturing its own eye using one of its claws. But instead of blood, you really don't see any fluid or liquid coming out of its eye. But you see the eye itself coming out of its socket. As it falls onto the ground, onto the gate, you hear this clang of a metal hitting another metallic surface. It slowly rolls its eye onto the small indentation in the middle. As its eye finds the socket perfectly, the second the eye falls into the socket, you can hear gears turning from within the gate itself. And the,
Oh,
you could all see the eyeball still in the middle. And why don't just roll perception?
that's what Fluffy's supposed to be for. Thanks, pet.
I would say with either 19 and a 25, as you look at the dragon itself, it doesn't seem to be organic inside through the eye socket. There seems to be very similar wirings and connections that you managed to see while you were tinkering, Jana, last night.
Nani?
You can you can see that the other eye of the dragon still moving around, looking at the four of you. But through the eye socket, there really isn't any flesh or bone. You can almost, well, Ebel can pretty much see that there are metal components inside the eye socket, inside its skull.
Can I
And just as its eye, yep.
can I say in Celestial, you're not organic, are you?
Hey, what do you say?
You're not organic, are you, in Celestial?
Uh, you are asking the dragon?
I am.
Oh,
Jana is
the
also
dragon.
sketching down this whole, like, inside being mechanical. This is going to make so many possibilities. This is awesome.
The dragon looks back. I am the most organic and real thing there is in this room. And as it's looking directly at you, you can very clearly see that it definitely is not organic. But it doesn't seem to know.
But he hasn't seen his own metal bits.
And when the eye goes into the socket and the gears started to turn, the gate slowly opens in a spherical fashion. As it opens up, you can see complete darkness underneath, a circular surface, seems to be metallic, that makes up the walls. And on the walls, on the curved walls, you see from about 5 feet gap, there are a lot of steps that you can possibly climb down on that are jammed, not exactly constructed as in how the constructs that you saw outside, but more like forcefully jammed into to the side walls, almost as though these steps were placed after the construction of the walls themselves. And the spiraling steps, they seem to go down as far as your eyes can see, and it's complete darkness at the far end. The dragon turns around. Good luck to the four of you.
Um, good good luck with healing your eyeball as well.
Well, my eye needs no healing. As you can see, its claws, once again, pretty much piercing what seems to be the pupil of its eye, like how you see the reptilian eyes. You can
Yeah.
see its claws going into the pupil, and you just see it nonchalantly picking it up and placing it inside the eye socket and turning it. And now it just looks like a new robotic dragon to you.
All right, that's the first. Um, all right, guys. Let's get going, Fluffy. It like Fluffy slowly trots over and looks around the corner. We're going down a cave. It kind of perks up a little bit more knowing that's leaving.
All right. Before you, once you start the climb down, the first few steps are relatively easy to climb. What are you while shaping into?
I'm going to turn into an ape and help Lillian down.
Okay. I will assume that
Lillian dies due to fall damage while she's not here.
Oriana and Jana are climbing down, climbing down themselves.
Yeah, as
Okay.
this one.
As you go take the first few steps down, you can hear your own breathing, your own breath echoing in this hollow, cylindrical, almost like a pipe that goes all the way down. And as the
Hello.
last person goes onto the step, well, when you say hello, you can hear hello, hello.
Hello.
You just keep hearing it going all the way down and coming all the way back up. The echoes. As the last person enters this passageway, you see the dragon flying up once again all the way up into darkness. And you can see the gates closing, but just before the gates close completely, you can hear the chains being pulled again back into position, the chains that you once broke. And that's the last thing that you hear as you go into complete darkness underneath this metallic gate.
And here's how we start the Underdark campaign.
We will take a 5 minute break, and I'll be back with
I'm
more.
probably